All right, good morning. So today we're going to talk about lecture 5, which is centered on PowerPoint. Now, we've not really talked about Microsoft Word, Excel, but we're moving straight to PowerPoint to get you ready for your presentation from next week. Now, in this presentation, you can see from here that I've not really gone into full screen mode because I want to show you some few things from here to make it easier to prepare your PowerPoint slides so you can come and do your presentation from next week. All right, so at the end of this lecture, you should be able to identify some of the names and functions of PowerPoint interface. You will also be able to create, edit, and also save, and sometimes print some PowerPoint presentation in specific formats that you probably would want it. If you want about 6 slides on a page, you should be able to print some of these on an A4 sheet. Again, we'll be talking about how to add some sort of graphic to your presentation. The graphic could be in the form of pictures, and maybe we'll probably might add some few animations and some few other things. We will also delve into how to create and also manipulate simple slideshow with outlines and also notes. Now, you should also be able to create slides presentation that include text, just like how you see over here, graphics, animation, and also transitions. And we will use design layouts and templates for presentations. And finally, you should be able to create a PowerPoint presentation, which you are going to show me from next week. All right. So Microsoft PowerPoint is a component of the Microsoft Office suite. I'm saying it's a suite and not suite, but suite, because the suite is made up of so many applications that come together to form this Microsoft Office suite. So PowerPoint is a presentation graphic package that lets you create formatted presentation, which can be used in a number of ways. So, for instance, if an organization calls you to come and do a presentation, your presentation will not be based on a Word document, but rather you would you organize it in the form of slides to make it easier for the organization to understand what you present. Now, the key point here is PowerPoint. So we call it PowerPoint. So it means any points that you put in the layout over here should be powerful enough to remind you of what you want to talk about. But for the purposes of this, you can see I have put in so many information here because I want to explain some few things to you. But if you are presenting to me or you are presenting in front of any other person, we don't expect to have so many texts, plenty text within your presentation, but rather you bullet or you bring out the points that you're going to talk about. So when you see it on the screen, you know that this point I'm going to elaborate it and explain in this way. So the reason why we have PowerPoint, so there is power in the points that you put in this particular slide. Okay, now the Microsoft PowerPoint layouts look just like this. So from the top, we have what we call the menu bar, which you are seeing over here. This is the menu bar. This is the menu bar as I'm scrolling over here. Now, each of the menu bar have what we call ribbon. So for instance, the slideshow comes with, this is the ribbon of the slideshow. So within it, there are so many things that you can see over here. If I click on home, there are also so many things that you can see within the home ribbon. Mind you, the whole of this is the menu bar or the menu bar tab. So each of these are tabs, and this is menu because within it there are so many functions that you can find, and those functions are grouped together in the form of a ribbon. Now you can see from here we have at the file, this is what we call the backstage view. This is what we call the backstage view. So just like in the movie industry, or maybe people that are performing drama, behind the scene, things that go on there are not displayed to the viewer or the audience. So that is the backstage. So in the same vein, we have what we call the backstage view for each of the Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Office suite. So PowerPoint has it also has the backstage view, which I just went back. So the whole of the site is called the backstage view. Now, what we see here from here through to this side is what we call the slide pane. So you can see from here, the whole of this, the content that we have here is what we call the slide pane. Then the individual slides that we have here are what we call the slide tabs. These are the slide tabs. Then at the bottom, you can see we have the status bar. So from here, from the slide number, which is 5 of 27, it is displayed on the status bar. So that tells you the status of the slides that you're looking at, that you are viewing. So within it, you can see the notes, comment, and all of that. So from here, we also see the notes pane. At the moment, I have the notes pane hidden for this. So I'm going to hover down here. You can see the cursor has changed to 2 arrows pointing up and down. So I can drag it up, and this is where we can put in our notes. The notes we put in here are probably, assuming you're presenting, you have bullets all over, PowerPoint bulleted here, and you want to put up some notes that will remind you of some few things about the bullets or the PowerPoint that you put in your slide. So you can put in those notes in here. And of course, when you're doing presentation, those notes will not be displayed to the audience, but rather to you, so you can have a fair idea of what you really want to talk about. So that is the layout of the Microsoft PowerPoint. So I've gone through virtually all of these. So at the bottom, we will talk about each one of them, how to increase it and all of that. Now, the Microsoft PowerPoint window is made up of the File tab, which is this tab that launches the Microsoft Office Backstage View, which I just talked about. The Microsoft Office Backstage View is where you manage your files and data about them. So from there, you can create, you can save, you can print, you can inspect the file property information, and you can do some few settings in there. So if I go back again to the file, the Backstage View, you can see I can create a new document, I can open documents, I can have some sort of information about Microsoft PowerPoint, and I can save as. I can also print, do some exports of some of the slides into different versions, and I can also have the chance to also make some sort of options or create new settings for my Microsoft PowerPoint. Now the slide tab. So before then, let me talk about the menu bar tab, which is this one. All of these, the menu bar tab is task oriented and opens ribbons that is divided into subtasks. So these are the menu bar tabs. So anytime I click on it, it is made up of subdivided tasks. So each of these are individual tasks that we can find within the ribbon. So each of them also have individual role to play under each of the menu bar tab. So this is the insert menu bar tab. This is the design menu bar tab, the transition, and the rest. Now the slide tab. This is the slide tab. Allows you to view miniature versions. Sorry, this is the slide tab that I talked about, this whole side. Slide tab, as you can see from here. This is the slide tab. I'm explaining each of them over here. The slide tabs allow you to view miniature versions called thumbnails. So these are the miniature versions of the slides that I'm presenting to you. And you have already created in your presentation. So most of the things that you create in the slide pane we have a miniature version which is also displayed in the slide tab. So this area is a slide pane, and what it does is in which slides can be created and also existing slides can be edited. So this is an existing slide. I can edit the contents that I have in here. So for instance, if I can just edit the content that we have here to make it easier for you to read and do some few things. So this is an example of the information that we can put here. Right, I'm going back again to the contents that I have in here. Now moving on again, the notes pane, which I talked about, allows you to enter speaker notes that complements the content on the slides. So these notes do not appear on the screen, as I explained earlier, when the slides are shown in full mode. So this is the notes pane. This is the notes pane. Information that you put here is not shown to the audience, but only to the presenter, which is you. And finally, the status bar. That is what I talked about. The bar that you see here contains view options that's previously located on the at the bottom left of the slide tab. So most of the information that you see some few information in here. Now, let's talk about the toolbars. Now, there are two main toolbars whenever we talk about the Microsoft Office suite. So in this case, it works for Word. It also works for PowerPoint as well. In fact, all the Office suites have these information, these two types of toolbars. So for instance, we have the quick access toolbar, and you have the mini toolbar. Now, the quick access toolbar is what we see at the top right of the window of the PowerPoint or any of the Office suite documents software that you probably have opened. So at the quick access toolbar, you get the chance to see the file. You can see these. This is the quick access toolbar. So as the name says, it's a quick access toolbar. So by default, only 3 buttons are displayed on the quick access toolbar, but these can be edited, and other regularly used button can also be placed in here. So if you have new some few other relevant menus that you think are necessary, you can add them here. So for instance, I can check the spelling. You can see it has been added over here. I can go back again and uncheck it to undo what I just did. All right, so by default, usually there are 3 main buttons that are displayed, and these are the save. We have the undo. We have the repeat save. This is optional. I added this particular one onto the quick access toolbar some time back. Of course, you can go back again, add as many as you can. Now, the menu bar is also one of the toolbars. As I said, there are 2: quick access toolbar and the menu toolbar, the mini toolbar, sorry, and the mini toolbar. So anytime you are editing a Microsoft Office document or PowerPoint or Excel, the moment you make a selection of a text on the page, you can see there is a pop-up. This pop-up is what is called the mini toolbar. This pop-up that is displayed. So for instance, if I come again and I select this pop-up is called the mini toolbar. So whenever text is selected within Word or a small formatting toolbar appears above the highlighted and disappears if the mouse cursor is moved away from the toolbar. So that is the mini toolbar. Now let's try and go through how some of the steps that we need to go through and have some few tips whenever we want to develop a new presentation. So creating a new presentation in PowerPoint features an existing selection of a design theme, each of which includes background graphics, custom slides, layouts, formatting, font formatting for various types of slides. These themes templates make it easier to quickly create and also use new presentation. So as I was saying, if you want to create a new document, there are so many ways of doing it. You can go to the file menu, you click on new, that will bring you an option to choose any of the available themes for your presentation. I'm not going to go through these ones, but most times you start with a blank presentation. If you want to search for presentations online, so for instance, if I want to search a presentation that is tailored to education, I can just type in education here, search through, and I'll have so many educational templates that would aid in my PowerPoint slides. So I can click on them and it will display for me. But of course, you need to have internet access to be able to do this. If you don't have internet access, it becomes difficult to download any of these to complete the process. So I'll go back again. Of course, if you are not so sure of the template that you want to use, you can always click on a blank presentation here. Then later on, you can go back again and apply your theme to the presentation that you create. All right. So now there is this tip that you should be mindful of. The automatic theme preview. That is automatic theme preview. To see how a specific theme would look with your presentation, simply hold the cursor over the theme. You don't have to click it, and the preview will be displayed. So for instance, if I go to the design and I hover over this, you can see the theme for this particular work has changed. I can select these ones. So this gives me an idea. I don't have to click on it, an idea of how the presentation would look like if I should select any of these themes. But of course, I'm not interested in any of them, so I'm just going to leave it there and continue with the existing one that I have. Well, I developed this one to make it easier for me to do my own presentation. So in future, those that are interested in learning how to come out with their themes, they can go to Google and there is a short way of creating a theme that you can include and import into your PowerPoint slides. Apart from that, you can download any of the available ones that are online. All right, so that is about themes. Now let me quickly go on to the next slides. We are still on developing a new presentation. So let's see, how can we change the slide layout? So from here, it says slide layouts can be used to create new slides, which will hold the content for your presentation after you have selected a design template for your presentation. So that is a slide layout. So when you have from here, we have new slides. You can choose the type of layouts that you would probably use for your presentation over here. In fact, when you come here, so under the insert, you see new. So these are the available slide layouts. So from here, you can see the title slide. We have title and content. We have session header. We have title only. We have, so for instance, let me just create a new slide in here. Then I'll come to the new, then depending on what I want to do, I want to content comparison. So I can click on it to see the layout has changed. Of course, if I go back again and select a different type of layout, maybe comparison, you can see we have a different type of layouts that is given. I'm going back again. I can select a new type of layout, content with caption. So you can see I have the content with caption layout over here. which I can use for my slides. But of course, I'm not interested in this. I'm going to undo that and continue. Now, still under slide layouts, there are so many types of layouts available. You can choose any of them. And of course, the tips over here. So by default layer, PowerPoint would automatically use the title slide, which is this one. Of course, you will have a title and you have the content of the presentation over here. By default, this is what is selected by PowerPoint. Anytime you create a new slide. So for instance, if I create a new slide, you can see I have the title layout and also the content layout. The title and the content, these two is the default layout that PowerPoint presents to us. If you don't want it, you can always change it at any point in time. And of course, I can choose to also this is more like a two document, so I can still extend this one and probably bring this one down or do some few other changes to it for the layouts to look different, from what I had earlier. So this is also a different design. All right, so I'm going back again to the original slide layout that I had. All right, so let me still continue. So still under new presentation documents. Now we have the formatting text in the text box. So once you have, once you have selected the text that you wish to format in the home ribbon, so this is the home ribbon. This is the home menu tab with the ribbon having some sub tabs within it. So in the home ribbon, the font section allows you to use one or more of the following fonts. So there are so many toolbars that are available within this. You can choose choose any type that you deem fit for your presentation. So for instance, if I want this format to have a different font type, I can go here, make a selection, choose this particular font type. You can see it has changed. Likewise, if I want to also change the font type of this, I can always go back again, select a new font type, which I think would be nice for my presentation. So these are some of the things that you can do when you are at the home tab, especially for the fonts. You can as well bolden portions of the fonts, like I have selected, and I have the mini toolbar here, so I can just bolden this. I can also change the color. I can also make it italicized or italic. So I can do some few other things. I can underline it. So the information we have here is formatted now. So that is about formatting text in the text box. So of course, it's not only this particular text box that you can format. You can format the title text box too. You can change the color to a different color, or whichever color that you feel is appropriate for your presentation. Okay, so changing the text color, you select the text which you wish to change the format, locate the font section of the ribbon, which is this side, and that is the font section. Then you apply, based on the selection, you apply the type of selection that you want to, the font color that you want to apply to the selection. Now again, in terms of the alignments, these are found over here. So under the paragraph section or group, these are some of the things that you can do with your text. So from here you can see I have this particular text justified, so I can make it center. So can I also make it left align? I can make it right align as well. So I can choose whichever alignment I see appropriate for my PowerPoint slide. In this case, I have it justified because I wanted to wrap around the text, wrap around within the text box. So that is what I have in there. Now, assuming I want to create a new text box, how do I do this? So adding a new text box to a slide allows you to place text on the slide that may not fit into an existing text box, or that may look best in a special position in the slide. So to create a new text box, so from the Insert tab, which is the Insert menu tab, you have the whole of the ribbon displayed. You select Text Box. So this is the text box. You click on the text box icon, toolbar over here. Then you locate the text section. That is the text section over here. So you can create a text box in here. So you can see the cursor has changed, waiting for me to input some kind of text. Yes, so you can see I have a text over here. Let me go back again. At the moment, I'm within a text box. So when I click on the text, when I go to the insert and I look out for the text box, and I try clicking in, you can see it's unable to create the text box for me because I'm within a text box. So I can click out of the text box and I have a new text box in here where I can type any information that I want. So this is just a template. Any information that I have here, drag it to any place that I want, and that is how to include a text box in your PowerPoint slides. Now, developing a new presentation, still on that, you're applying a background color to a text. So this is a text that we have in here. So assuming I want to apply a background color to this particular text, what you have to do is to select the text box. So I have, this is the text box. I want to apply a color, a background color to the whole of the text box. So I first of all select the text box, which is this. Then by double clicking on its dash border. So when I do double click on this dash border, it goes to the text box area. So I'm already in there. So I have it selected. This is the text box. I have it selected by double clicking in here. So in the shape style, which is under the format toolbar, so we can look out for the format to the menu bar. So in the shape, you can now look out for the shape fill. So this is where we're going to fill out with the color. So we'll select our color, whichever color that we think is nice for this. So I'll go back again and I'll select this color. And that is how to include a background color for a text box. I'm going to go over again. So I'll undo this. Let me go back again to this. Get it aligned very well. Right, so this is what I'm saying. So first of all, if I want to have a background color for this particular text box, I first of all select the text box, go back to its dash border. This is the dash border that you see here. Now at the format menu bar, which is this, it brings me the ribbon, and from the ribbon you can see shape fill, you can see shape outline, you can see shape effect. But for now, it's the shape fill that I'm interested because I want to change the background color. So I can select any color in here to apply to my text box. So that is how it looks like. So the organization is what I've just displayed for you to see. All right. Now, how do we insert saved images that are on our computer? So for instance, you can see this is a picture in here, and this is also another picture. How do we include it into our PowerPoint slides? So let me get this formatted and let's also, I can go back again and include a picture in there. So assuming I have a picture which I want to add to my PowerPoint slide, I can go to the insert menu tab, and under picture I can click on this one to say insert picture from either on my computer or any picture that is online. That is if I am connected onto the internet. If I'm not, then you look out for a picture which is on your computer. So I'm going to select this computer, and I'll go to pictures, and let me probably select my picture to make it easier. So I have my picture selected, and I can insert it in here. So when it's inserted, I can now go back again and crop it and orient the picture correctly to whichever position that I want. Now there's this thing I want to talk about. It is not really appropriate to have your picture squished in any way. So when I click on this and I drag to the left, you can see the picture is squished, which is not the best of options. Now I have a very long face. I already have a long face, but now my face is really long. So it's not a best of options to be using these angles to compress pictures to whichever way you want. But rather, it's always appropriate to maintain the aspect ratio of the picture. By aspect ratio, I mean the height and the width of the picture that you download or that you import into your PowerPoint slide. So to do that, you make sure you go to the diagonal of the picture, then you drag in. Once you drag in, the aspect ratio of the picture is maintained, and you don't lose how the picture really look like, irrespective of how you stretched it or you compress it. So you still will maintain the aspect ratio. If it is 500 by 500, which is meaning the width is 500 and the height is 500, the moment you use a diagonal, you are able to maintain the 500. So now this will probably be 100 without the width being 200 and the height being 400 when you have it crashed from the middle, that is from these angles. So this is how you insert a picture into a slide. Now you often acquire images from the web and other resources to the PowerPoint presentation. So to insert an image from your hard disk, that is what I just told you. So in the slide pane of the PowerPoint window, select slide onto which you wish to insert the image. So this is the slide I want to insert the image, and of course I just inserted the image in there. So inserting a clip art. So there are times it's not an image that you want to insert, but probably a clip art. So in the same vein, how we imported a picture into our slide, we can go back again to the insert menu bar. Then this time round, we look out for shapes. If you want to include clipboard too, you can also include let me see, a clipboard. Just a minute. I want to look out for the clipboard. Okay, for now I'm not really seeing it, but let me go into the shape. So assuming you want to pinpoint some aspect of maybe this particular picture, assuming maybe I want to have a representation of the eye by using an arrow, I can just go into insert, look out for the shapes, then I'll hold down and drag to the eye to make it easier. Of course, whenever you have in a shape, you can change the color of the shape from here. You can change the color and do some few other things to it. So that is the insertion of that is the insertion of shapes. Okay, so now included in Microsoft PowerPoint 2010. Well, this version of PowerPoint I'm using is 2016. So there might be some few changes in there, but of course we should be able to find some few other things. So included in PowerPoint is a gallery of Clipart images that can be introduced in your presentation. These images are not always of the highest quality, but when you use selectively, they can be as useful part of an effective presentation. So this is an example of a picture that was taken from. Let me see if I can find the clip art. Let me see in here. All right, for now I can't really find it. I don't know if it's not. I don't think it's really part of this particular. Sorry, it's yes, smart art. All right, so we have yes. This time around it's called smart art instead of the clip art. So there are lots of them in here, depending on where you are coming from. You can select any of them. All right, so you can see this is a basic pie chart. You can edit the text in here, do some few other things. So this is a smart chart, a smart art. I'm going to delete it again. I don't really need all of this, so all right, so I'll delete this one as well. All right, so that is about the smart art. There are some few other things that you can see in here. We have hierarchy, we have cycle. In fact, there are lots of them. You can practice and have your way around it. Maybe for the presentation that you'll be, your group will be coming in to present from next week. All right, so now let's move on. So how do we add animation and also transition effects? Excuse me. Transitions and animation effects can be added to particular slides or entire presentation to add more appeal to the presentation. So now, assuming we want to have a transition like this, excuse me. So you first of all, of course, anything that you do, if you want to have a transition for it, you have to make a selection first. So assuming I want to have a transform this, I'll go to the transition session, and this is a preview of what's assuming. Let me see. I want it to swipe. I'm sure you saw how the swipe worked. So that is how the transition is. So this is for the whole slide. So for instance, if I wanted to fade in, you saw it faded in. If I wanted to push from the bottom to up, it also does the same thing. The random bars, you can see there are random bars for this particular transition. There is a shape style, there is an uncover, there is a cover, there is a flash, there is a fall over. So these are all transitions that you can add to respective slides. But of course, when you are done and you want to have the same transition for your presentation, you can select any of them. All right, this is a drop, this is a curtain. And this is a wind. Yes. Now I would want you to be cautious of the animation and transition effects that you apply to your slides. You know, there are times when you are doing a presentation, some of these animation takes a long time to display. So it can also eat some of the time that will be given to you to do a presentation. Let me come back again. So for instance, if you are given 15 minutes to do a presentation and your animation is taking 10 seconds for each of the, if you have 20 animations and each of them takes about 5 seconds to display, for instance, the curtain, it takes a little while, for about 5 seconds to finish displaying. You can imagine the number of seconds. So if you have 20 slides, so 5 times 20, making 100. 100 is about 1 minute, which is 60 seconds, 1 minute and 40 seconds, which is almost 2 seconds. So 2 minutes. So we have 1 minute, 40 seconds. So just imagine your presentation. You'll be given a presentation of 15 minutes, and you have almost 2 minutes on that is going to be chopped off by the transition. So you should be careful which of the transition or animation that you include in your slide. So that is about it. So I would want you to be careful on this. So wind, in fact, there are lots of effects that you can add onto it. But for now, I am using none. I'm going to go with, okay, well, I am using wipe by default, so I'm going to go back again to the wipe. All right. So these are some few things that you can do with your adding animation and transition. Okay, so of course you can also talk about I want you to explore some of these in terms of sound. If you want to include sounds whilst your transition happens, you can talk about it, or your animation happens, you can add them to your slide. But of course, be mindful that these are all time consuming features, so be careful the type that you add to your slides during presentation. Now, how do we add dates and time to our presentation? So date, time, slides, numbers, and footer messages can be added to specific slides or entire presentation. So you can see I don't have a date and time for my presentation. So how do I add that? So I'll go to insert, and from here you can see date and time. So I can click on date and time, and the window that is displayed is exactly what you see here. So if I want to add date and time, today is a February, and if I want to apply this to all my slides, I can, or to just this slide, I can just click on apply. You can see the dates have appeared in here to only the slide, but not to all the slide. So that is about adding dates. Let me see if we can add some few other things to this. So going again. So this time around, I can select the time. It can also be applied over here for you to see. All right, so I'll go back again and undo this. So that is about adding date and time to your slide. So you can do that by going to the Insert tab, Menu tab. Then you look out for date and time, which you see here. Then you make a selection and choose whichever one that you want. If you want to give a footer notes, like in this case, I can just remove this. You can just add the footer notes to it and do some few other changes to it. So that is about adding date and time to your slides. Now, presenting your slide. Now, this is very important. So you are done with your slides. How do we present your slide? Now, before I go on to this, let me talk about, because I've talked about adding images, let me talk about also adding videos to your slide. So assuming I want to add a video to this particular slide, Let me reduce this size. So in the same way, you go to insert like how you added a picture. But this time around, you go to video. So you click on video. There are videos online and there are videos on my PC. I want a video which is on my PC, so I can click on this one. Then I'll look out for a video which is located on my computer. So for instance, I'm going to go to drive C. I'm going to go to ARMS. I'm going to go to WW. I'm going to go to web. I'm going to go to HTML. Then I have a video in here. So I'm going to click on this video and I'll say insert. So you can see the video has been inserted in here. So I can play the video and you can see what is happening here. I can play the video and whatever. So unfortunately you can't hear because these are some few things that I put in here for students to see. So this is a clear example of including videos into your slides. So let me stop over here. All right, so that is about one way of including a video onto your slide. So in the same way, you can also add a music file onto your slides, like an audio. So I can click on this and look out for an audio or audio from my PC. I'll look for a song. Let me see if I have a song in here. Okay, I have some nice. Let me select Dr. Tumi. I think he has some nice songs. So in here, I can bring play the song in here, and you can see some few other things happening over here. So it's unfortunate you can't hear, but because I'm not really displaying for you to hear. So but those of you who will do this presentation, you can go through it and you can hear the sounds that do come from your slide. So this is about adding audio, adding video, and adding pictures. So you've talked about all these. So how do you make maybe a link? There's also a link. You can of course select this one, and also I think we would treat this one in terms of adding hyperlinks, so that when you click on it, it opens another file or it goes online. We will treat this in Microsoft Word. So the way I've brought up a video on, I'm creating a video for PowerPoint. I'm going to do the same thing for Word, so that on Monday I'm going to do the same thing for Word. Then in our respective practical classes, I'll give you assignments and labs to do, and I'll supervise. I'll come check what you are doing in the labs. All right, let's move on to the next slide. We've talked about this. Let me see. So now you are done with your presentation. How do we start your slideshow? So this is how it goes. So now that you have finished creating the slides, you've added some few things, pictures, your videos, and the rest. You are ready to view the entire slideshow, the entire show in a sequence. To view a presentation from the beginning, these are the options that you have to go. Now from here you can see view the presentation from beginning, from current slide, broadcast slideshow, and so and so and so. So assuming I want to start my presentation, I'll go to the slideshow and I'll click on begin, maybe begin the slideshow from the beginning of the document. So if I click on this, the slides will now start from here. But if I'm on this page, as you can see, if I'm on this page and I just want to display this one, I can say from current slides, and it will display only, it will start displaying the slideshow from here. Of course, this is not a slideshow, but when I'm in a presentation mode, that is how it's going to be. Now, there are other options too that are available. What you see over here, we can also see it here. So now this one, you can also click on this one to show your slides, and this shows it from the beginning. It's unfortunate I can't click on this one, or I can, but you might not be able to really appreciate it as it should be. So this is where the presentation is. Okay. Now, so in a slideshow ribbon, which is the slideshow ribbon, the Start Slides section will allow you to view your presentation. Choose from the beginning to start your slide show from the beginning. Choose Current to start your slideshow from the current page, the current slide pane, or the information that you have in here. So these are options to do some few other things. These are options to present your slides. You can either start from the beginning, irrespective of where your slides pane is. You can also start from the current slide pane. Now, how do you navigate within your slide? You can use the up, down, forward key. So you can, the key on your keyboard, the arrows up, down, forward, left, right, and the rest. So the display key, you have the right facing arrow, the down facing, the enter key, and the space bar. You can use it to navigate your slides to the next. So if you want to go to the next, you can either use the forward or the down, or you can press enter. You can also press the space bar to move on to the next slide. But if you want to go to previous slides, you can use the arrow, the left arrow and the up arrow to do this. To return to a normal view, as you can see here, this is the normal view of the PowerPoint slide, the PowerPoint application. You can just press the escape key from your keyboard. If you want to have a blank screen, you can press B. Maybe you don't want to show them one particular slide, but you are already in the presentation mode, which is the slideshow mode that is displayed to your audience. You can just press B to blank out the screen. And again, you can make the screen white by pressing W. And when the slice is done, you can just press on the escape key to escape from the slide that is being presented to the audience. Now, there are different ways to view slides. In fact, when you are creating your presentation, you can switch between the different views within PowerPoint. Now, there are so many views that are available. The view available in PowerPoint 2010 and beyond, which is what I'm using 2016. We have the triple pane, we have the slide sort. What? Okay, this thing confused me. All right, so let me see. Pum, 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 pum. All right, so the different ways to view slides. We have the normal, the outline view, which you can see. We have the slide sorter, so you can see so many slides displayed over here. We have the notes page, so it comes. So in this case, if I have a notes, as I told you in the notes pane, you see the notes in here, and each of them will be displayed. So it will display the slide, and it will display the notes also as well for you to see. And a reading view. So this is how the reading view also looks like. Excuse me. Sorry. It's cold here. Forgive my voice. That is the reading view. So these are let me go back again to the normal view. So these are the types of views that are available in slides, in PowerPoint slides. So you can view them in any way. So you go to view, you select whichever type that is appropriate for you at any point in time and display to the users. Now, we are still on the developing of new presentation. So how do we set the orientation? In fact, this is very important. There are times when you are presenting your work in a conference, they tell you to put your slides in some type of presentation view, either a 4:3 or a 16 by, I think, and yet there's another option. I'm going to show you that. So before you even start with your slides, you have to put your slide in that presentation, in that presentation orientation. So you can create your slides in them. And the reason is sometimes some of the PowerPoint projectors, projectors that we see are unable to view certain orientation on the screen. It is difficult for the projectors to render such orientation, so they will tell you which orientation to choose whenever you're creating your slides. But I think the projector that we have in the lab is enough. It's okay, so whichever orientation you choose would work. So to set the page orientation from the slides, click on the orientation drop box and click either portrait or landscape. So orientation drop box, let me see. Just a minute. Orientation drop box. Design transition. Let's see. Just a minute. Oh, it should be somewhere here. So simple. See, let me see. All right, I'll come back again to it. I don't know how this is possible. Okay, I'll come back again. So of course, certain colors too, you can also do the same thing. We can set colors. So these options allow the slides to print in colored or simple black and white whenever you want to do the printing. As I told you, when you go back again to the backstage view, you can print from here. And at the print side, you can choose the number of slides that you can print on a page. You can choose either 2, you can choose 9 slides on a page. Of course, you can select the orientation from here too as well. There's a portrait orientation. This is the landscape orientation. So in terms of printing, this is how you can do that. You can have it this way too as well. Let me go back, exit the backstage view. All right, so I'm sure I'll come back again here to show this. Yes. Oh, sorry. So under design, I think this version is a little different. That's how I found it a little difficult to navigate. Yes. So in terms of the slides orientation, so we have the widescreen, we have the standard, which is 4:3. The widescreen is 16:9. Of course, you can customize the slides size. So I'll click on this one, and that is the window that you see in here. We can have the widescreen. You can change the widescreen to a letter. In fact, these are all other options that you can select. And the slides, you can make it portrait, you can make it landscape, you can make it the notes also. portrait or landscape, whichever one is appropriate for you. So that is it. So in terms of the setting the orientation, by default it's already set, but when you go to design and you look out for the slide size, you can choose whichever one that is appropriate. If you don't like any of these, you can click on custom, then you make a selection from here. All right, so that is about the slide orientation. Sorry about that. Okay, so printing your presentation. So that is what I just talked about. You can modify common print settings by using the drop menu. The print preview are automatically adjusted to allow you to see how your pages will appear before actually printing them. So that is what the print preview does. So I can go back again. I go to print. This is the print preview. So if I want just maybe four on a slide, I can have it this way. If I want it in landscape, I can select landscape, and this looks more presentable. So printing this one is quite appropriate. And of course, I can change it to grayscale so that I don't have it colored when I'm printing. I always would have it black and white. And of course, if I want it colored, I can select colored and have it printed in a colored form. All right, so you can change as many as possible. There's an uncollated, but these are the important ones that we normally use. So 9 slides. Okay, this is quite okay. We can go on with it. So let me go back again out of the backstage view. So I'm still back again to the printing. So that is a way to do the to print your PowerPoint slides. Now, still I'm working on graphics. You can add one shape to your file or combine multiple shapes to make the drawing or a more complex shapes. So if you have a flow chart that you want to use, maybe from morning you go to here, probably you can go to back again to insert, can have a shape. If I have maybe this, I can draw this one. So from here, the next thing I want to do is probably insert another shape, which is an arrow. So assuming I want to, you can create as many shapes as possible. I can come back again this time around. I want a circle, can select a circle, then I can arrange it. In fact, these are some of the graphics that you can input in here. So that is the insert shapes group. That is, you can do some, in fact, so many things in there. There are a lot of things that you can do over here. So depending on what you are into, you can always select each of the right shape to work on. I've talked about inserting text boxes. So if you don't remember, you go back again to insert, then you go back again to text box. Then you can type in the information that you want to put in. So that is about inserting text box. I've talked about inserting pictures because I inserted a picture myself, so I can click. I'll go to insert again, a picture from the device. If you have a picture online, you can also insert this. This is Tony, our dear Tony from, is it Power? Yes, I think it's Power. This gentleman, I like him a lot. I like his character. So that is about inserting pictures. The same way, you can also insert a video. So you still go into insert. You look out for a video on your computer. You find a video. If it's a video that's online, give us the link to the video. Assuming it's a YouTube video, give us a link and it will just populate within your work. All right, so that is about pictures, inserting pictures into your slides, and these actually make your slides look more appealing and presenting to the user. So inserting tables, so just in the same way, when you go to insert, you look out for table. How many? It's maybe 4 by 4. So this is how the table is inserted. You can format the table color and do some few other things to the table. If you don't want and you want the basic table, design, you can always select them. This is how the table design looks like. Of course, this is nice. You have some nice table designs available. You can always select whichever one deem fit for your presentation. So I'll delete this one as well. Sorry. So I'll select the table and I'll delete it. Now, there are times you have a slide. Maybe you're working on a slide and you feel, okay, I want to come out with a new slide, and this slide should be similar to this. You can just select a slide on the thumbnail. You right click on it and we say duplicate slide. So you can duplicate the slide. You can see the same thing has appeared twice. You can undo it by pressing Ctrl Z, or you can just click on the slide and also hide the slide. Maybe you don't want to display. If you hide it, it means it's not going to be displayed to the audience, so the audience will not be able to see this. Now, so we talked about images, we talked about inserting tables. Find and replace is one of the key things that you look out for when you're done done with your slides, and you probably want to find something, a word that you probably think was wrongly spelled. You can just press the Ctrl F to find and replace the word from the text that you have. And finally, so when you press on Ctrl F, Ctrl R, sorry, the Ctrl F will give you a find. If you want to find and replace, you can go to that is Ctrl H will give you find and replace. So whatever you're looking for, you type it in there, you can find and replace that. Thank you very much, and this brings us to the end of lecture 5. So please get yourself ready. We'll have our PowerPoint presentation. Each student will have 15. Each group will have 15 minutes to present. The class rep for this morning, please call me and let me direct you as to how to get the group set up. Thank you very much.